Let's look at 38 fun facts and hidden details you missed in Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. Number 1. The first time we meet Will Turner is when we see him presenting Governor Swan with a sword he made for him. Then, later at World's End, Davy Jones uses this sword to kill Will, so he actually created the very weapon that became his demise. Number 2. Jack always looks like he's drunk when he walks, but this isn't the case. While he does love a drink, he actually has sea legs and walks straight as an arrow when he's on boat rather than land. Number 3. When we first meet Jack Sparrow, we see that he has a small scab on his jawline, but as each movie goes on, the scab gets progressively worse. This was a joke between Depp and the makeup department, who decided the scab was from syphilis. Number 4. While Elizabeth is falling into the water, Jack is busy distracting the two soldiers by recounting a story that ends with,
"And then they made me their chief."
This actually foreshadows the events of the sequel, where Jack becomes the chief of a group of cannibals. Number 5. When Elizabeth falls into the water, the medallion she wears around her neck activates, and we can see the sky become stormy, but most importantly, the clouds in the sky form an outstretched hand reaching towards the island. Number 6. The sparrow tattoo Johnny Depp had on his arm was fake, but he later had the same design tattooed in the same place with Jack written underneath. This was not only in honor of the character, but also his son, who shares the same name. Number 7. As we know, Jack's compass points to things you want most, and so when James Norrington takes possession of the compass, you can see it points towards Jack rather than Elizabeth, showing the Commodore's priority lies with duty over love. Number 8. During their first meeting and subsequent fight, Will throws his sword at Jack to prevent him from escaping the blacksmiths. At the end of the film, we see how the relationship between the two has progressed when Will later uses the same sword-throwing technique to save Jack's life from hanging. Number 9. During the fight between Will and Jack, Orlando Bloom's elvish tattoo that he got after filming Lord of the Rings can be seen on his wrist. Number 10. Rather than having soot and dust sprayed on Will during the fight, they instead covered Orlando Bloom with chocolate powder, so that it would cause less damage if it got in his eyes. Number 11. During the attack on Port Royal, Will throws an axe into the back of one of the pirates, which should definitely have killed him, but minutes later you can see the same pirate still running around, which was the first indication of the curse's effect on the pirates. Number 12. After we get the first view of the moon during the attack on Port Royal, the next shot is focused on the jail dog's bone, which foreshadows the effect that the curse has on Barbossa's crew. Number 13. Mickey Mouse has somewhat of a cameo in this movie. You can see his face on the right side of the moon. Number 14. Elizabeth threatens the crew of the Black Pearl by dangling the last medallion over the water. But this should be a meaningless threat, since the cursed crew could sense where the medallion was, and could have also searched for it underwater in their skeleton form without dying. Number 15. After waking up from being knocked out by the pirates, Will looks towards the port and past a girl who is sweeping a porch. The girl is played by Lucinda Dryzak, the same girl who plays young Elizabeth at the start of the movie. Number 16. When Will goes to help free Jack from his prison cell, you can see that the bars of the cell have been welded together using modern welds that weren't invented at the time of the film setting. Number 17. After freeing Jack from prison and attempting an escape from Port Royal by walking underwater and using a canoe to breathe in, Will steps in a lobster trap. He then uses the same trap to tie up the rudder on the back of the Dauntless, ensuring that he and Jack cannot be followed. Number 18. To make their escape, the two plan on taking control of the Dauntless, climbing out of the water and up the back of the ship. However, once the two have made it onto the deck, their clothes are bone dry despite having just been walking underwater. Must have been a hot day. Number 19. Captain Jack utters what would become one of his most iconic catchphrases.
"It's heavy."
This line was one of many improvisations from Johnny Depp that were left in the movie. Number 20. The bone in Jack's hair is actually called a marlin spike, a tool made from reindeer shin bone and often used in marine rope work. Number 21. The idea for the curse came from the movie only having a small budget. CGI had to be kept to a minimum to stay within budget, so Barbossa's crew would only turn into skeletons when the moon was out. If the budget got too tight for a scene, they just put clouds in front of the moon. Number 22. To create the effect of decaying skin on the skeleton forms of Barbossa's crew, the effects team took digital photos of turkey and grafted a turkey jerky texture that would go onto the skin and skulls of the figures. Number 23. Cotton's parrot was played by two different macaws, Chip and Salsa. Chip would do most of the still scenes sitting on Cotton's shoulder, while Salsa did the more technical flying scenes. Number 24. The only female pirate to be recruited by Jack Sparrow was called Anna Maria, which could be a reference to two of the most infamous female pirates of the 18th century, Anne Bonny and Mary Read. Number 25. The role of Anna Maria was one of Zoe Saldana's first major Hollywood blockbusters, but she didn't have a good experience filming. She since said that the overwhelming number of cast and crew members left her feeling lost in the trenches of it a great deal, and that she didn't feel like that was okay. Years later, she received an apology from the film's producer, Jerry Bruckheimer. Zoe later said she really appreciated his apology. He remembered that I had mentioned that during press, I guess, or an engagement I had done years before, and that he felt compelled to bring it up and take accountability. Number 26. Cotton's parrot singing Dead Men Tell No Tales was not actually foreshadowing the title of the 5th installment of the franchise, as they didn't even know they would get a sequel after the first movie. Number 27. For a brief moment, while Barbossa is shouting commands at his crew, you can see that actor Jeffrey Rush may have forgotten to put in his fake teeth, as they're perfectly white rather than the fake decayed ones. Number 28. When Jack the Monkey returns the medallion to Barbossa, he gives a perfectly timed smile as he's thanked. This wasn't planned in any way, and was done purely by chance. Number 29. When Barbossa takes Elizabeth's dress from her before throwing her overboard, he claims that her dress is
It's still warm.
Given that he can't feel anything, this was either a mistake or just a lie to rile up his crew and remind them what they're fighting for. Number 30. Keira Knightley ended up stranded waist-deep in water for 45 minutes after her boat got caught on a reef after filming. Pretty terrifying for someone who was only 17 at the time. But, luckily due to legal reasons, her mother was on set with her all the time. Number 31. The pistol that Captain Jack wields is the only real gun in the movie. Depp used a set of flintlock pistols that were made in 1765 for scenes when the gun was fired, but he otherwise used replicas. Number 32. One of the reasons the sword fights are always so epic is because the cast were trained by Bob Anderson, the same man credited with doubling as Darth Vader in the original Star Wars movies for the lightsaber scenes. Number 33. One actor who took his training too far was Jeffrey Rush, who was adamant about choreographing and training for Barbossa's fights relentlessly, so much so that the stunt team got sick of dealing with him. Number 34. When Barbossa finally meets his demise, an apple rolls out of his sleeve as he was storing it for the moment he regained his morality and could taste it. It's also worth noting that it's a Granny Smith apple, which originated in Australia in 1868, long after the events of the movie. Number 35. Jack is never without his trusty hat, except when he loses them overboard, of course. To combat the problem of Depp constantly losing his hats, the costume department made them out of rubber instead of leather so they could float. Number 36. When Jack finally makes it back to his crew on the Black Pearl, you can see that one of his crew doesn't quite fit in. A man in a white vest and cowboy hat who was obviously part of the filming crew didn't realize he was in the back of the shot, and neither did the editing team apparently. Number 37. Not only was
Bring me that horizon.
the perfect line to see at the movie, but it was also completely improvised by Johnny Depp. The improvised line even became the inspiration for the start of a British rock band who named themselves Bring Me the Horizon. Number 38. Since end credit scenes weren't as common back when the movie was released, you may not have stuck around to watch Jack the Monkey steal a gold coin and change into a skeleton form. Well, that was my breakdown of Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. Comment below any other details I missed, and then click the video on screen now to see my latest upload.